I'm the academic astrologer, and I'll be talking about Pluto MC AstroCartography today. This is a video that I've been meaning to make for quite some time, but I had one excuse or another to not sit down and film it. But today is June 6th, which is a 3-day overall, which is a good day for communication according to numerology. And also, we have the moon in a trine to Jupiter and Mercury, which is also a good day to communicate. So back in 2013, February of 2013, I moved to Florida, South Florida to be exact, in the Fort Lauderdale area, which some people confuse on what part of Florida that is, but that's southeast Florida, just north of Miami. And we were really excited about the move. I got a job in my field. I was excited about that. I thought I was doing well in my job. And then a new boss came in, and it was a couple years of very, very dark and hard times for me. So there was just a lot of, it was almost like being in an abusive relationship. And when you left, you were just traumatized and thinking about it for years. It wasn't just me. It was basically all the people she supervised had one form of trauma or another. I, at one point, broke down in front of her and her boss and was just like, this is ridiculous. And so I unfortunately burned some bridges, and because her boss's boss took her side, of course. Maybe I should have seen that coming, but at any rate, I did finally get out of there. I mean, it just took, I would just sit down at my computer and apply for jobs every night, probably drink way too much wine because I was just very depressed about the whole situation. So I have my North Node and Saturn in my 10th house. And then I have my MC in my 11th house. I think it had moved to the 10th house with the relocated chart there. But at any rate, work is a big part of my life. So it just really depressed me that day after day I had to go and endure that difficult situation. So I did eventually get out there, and I moved to a different job, which had a very long commute. But I was so grateful to have a chance of a new direction in my job, and also to just get out from under that oppressive boss. So then when I was going to my new job, I took the train, and one day I parked our beloved Jeep, which had many, many upgrades on it. It was decked out for off-roading. So I parked it in the parking lot to go to the train. And when I came home in the evening, it wasn't where I thought it should be, and it wasn't anywhere. So apparently in broad daylight, it had been stolen out of the parking lot. Now, we were living paycheck to paycheck, so this was a very difficult situation. So after that, I basically had to walk to the train, which was a decent walk, and I had to make the train happen, which the trains in South Florida are not like German trains. They're very sporadic and crazy. So, but I had to make it work because that was all we could handle. So that eventually spurred us to move out of South Florida because it just was so expensive. We were commuting really long distances, and now we only had one car between us. And my husband could not take the train. So it was difficult. So we moved to Ohio. And in Ohio, again, I was just so grateful to have a decent boss. So I was okay somewhat that I got a little bit of a decrease in my salary, but I thought, well, the cost of living's lower and at least I have a nice boss. So after a while, I got a chance to become a manager, an associate manager, and I had the strangest thing happen. So I went on leave, medical leave, and when I came back, I think we were down a staff member or something, and my boss just kept pressing me that I needed to figure out how we were going to make it all work. And the other thing is we were already understaffed. And then on top of that, we were down a person, I believe, or going to be down a person. And she just kept tasking me, you have to figure out how this is all going to work. And I'm like, we need more people. Like, we're kind of getting to the point of desperation that we just need more people. Like, we can't just keep going on like this. But she didn't see that as an option. So to ask for more people. And so she just kept pressing me. I need to figure it out. I need to take on more work. And then she was like, are you not even working your hours? And I said, no, I'm working really hard while I'm here, but I had an infant at home. I was often alone in the evenings with the infant. So I literally had no extra time other than when my kid was at daycare. And so I was like, it's just not possible for me to work any more hours. And I guess she had been working 12-hour days, especially while I was on leave. She had been working 12-hour days. And so she just kept pressuring me. And then finally she invited me into the office. So this was during COVID, so we were all working remote, but she invited me into the office to meet with her boss. So this is like head of the whole office. And they pretty much were ganging up on me. Like, are you just not going to be able to make this work? And I'm like, no, I can make it work. Meanwhile, I was, in the running for a different job. So, but they just kept pressuring me. Oh, and to top this off, my boss was not wearing a mask, and this was during the time of COVID, and I had an infant at home, and she had it down below her nose or something, and she rode the elevator with me, and she was like, oh, I'll just stay on this side of the room because I do have like allergies or something. So they were pressuring me, and then, but I just kind of was like, no, we can make it work. And so then later on, I find out she had COVID and she exposed it to me. But I did have my mask on the whole time. And luckily, I didn't catch it. I definitely upped my supplements at that time. But luckily, I got into another management job that was even better. And I had a very understanding boss. And it was great. So at work, I had a few happy years. It was pretty good, although I had some power struggles with employees going that direction. So not struggles with my boss, but also in the previous job too. And then also in this job, I had some power struggles with different employees where they would stop working, like completely stop working. So they would be working remote, and then like the work would just completely stop for like 2 days, or they would do just enough to try to pretend like they were working, but they weren't working. And our jobs were like critical work had to be done. So, I mean, it wasn't just like squishy. So I definitely had some power struggles with these employees, trying to get them to actually work and come to work every day. And sometimes had to put them on improvement plans or whatever. So that was interesting. But no boss struggles at that time. But one other interesting thing that happened is, so I was walking down the street and there was this dog, and I was just like walking by, and I think I said hi to the person and was like, oh, what type of dog it is. And then the next thing I know, this dog is attacking me. And I like dogs. Like I was just like being friendly to the person, and not really even stopping. Like I just kept walking, and this dog just like leaps at me and attacks me. And I was wearing a heavy coat. So I was like, that's it. Well, he didn't, hurt my coat. So I guess I'm fine. But then I went inside, I was going inside a restaurant to pick up some food, and like my arm is just like hurting. And I'm like, okay, this is weird. Like I look down and my arm looks fine. So I pull off my jacket and my skin is starting to like bubble up with blood. Like it's all like, even though there was somehow no damage to the coat, my arm is like looking really bad. And so I kind of start freaking out, and I call my husband. He's like, what? You need to go after that person. So I come back outside and I get their phone number, and then the dog leaps at me again. And so I just like run inside. But meanwhile, my husband doesn't know what's happened. So then he tries to confront the guy, and the guy takes off running, and he's just like out of there. So it was this whole thing. I guess the dog control people had to like chase him down. And then I had to go to court to fight against this dog owner. And it was just this whole thing. And, the crazy thing is, this is actually the second time in Ohio I was bitten, because I was also bitten while I was pregnant. I went into my neighbor's house, and I was just like walking across the room to look at something. And next thing I know, the dog was like attacking me. And this one, like I bruised like terribly. Like it was just, my whole leg was bruised. And at one point I had to go see a doctor, and they were like, what the heck happened to your leg? Like that looks horrible. So it's just so weird. I've never been bitten by a dog. I've always had great relationships with dogs, but like these two things happen in Ohio. And then recently I had another boss, and it was almost like that boss in Florida, although they're like super nice, but also just weird things going on with my boss. So then we got into AstroCartography, and we had a reading with someone, and I was like, well, what about Florida? Like what is going on in Florida? Because that was like some of the darkest days of my life. Like what was going on down there? And she looks at it and she's like, I don't know. I mean, it looks fine, but that was just a hard time in your life, in your timing of your life. That was just a hard time. And I was like, okay. But I still was like, I just don't get it. Like that was such a hard time for me, and Ohio's been much better, and I just don't get it. And so come to find out, I find out later that my birth time is wrong. And just having a wrong birth time, it will totally change your astrocartography charts. So it turns out that in South Florida, I was like 52 miles from my Pluto MC. And then it all made sense. And then in Ohio, I'm like maybe 150. So it's still a pretty strong influence. So it kind of all came together of, like the light bulb went off. And my husband had been explaining to me like how much the astrocartography made sense to him. And I was just like, I just don't get it. Cause like Florida was so hard, and there's nothing there. And so it finally all made sense. I saw like the dog bites as, just weird transformative situations, how I'm presenting in the world. So I saw the dog bites kind of in that, and then the power struggles with my boss, the power struggles with employees not working, and and the other thing I forgot is, so we had some major losses as well. So we had a lot of, I would say a lot of good things happen in Ohio. Like mostly I've been happy there, but in Ohio we decided to try for children, and everything seemed to be going okay, although I kind of just had this bad feeling. And at 6 months pregnant, 26 weeks, I was like, I think something's wrong. Like, I don't think I felt the baby move recently. And so we went to the hospital, and the baby had died, due to genetic issues. So, there was just something wrong, with the baby, and that I wasn't aware of. And so the baby died, and that was really tragic. So then I got pregnant again, and one of the tests came back that there might be something wrong with the baby. But I was hoping it was just not right. It was not a real accurate test. So we were going to get more tests done. And then we found out that baby had died. And that actually wasn't the hardest part, because what happened is I almost bled to death, which it was really scary. I had to have a blood transfusion, and I was really weak for a while, and it was just super scary that I might have died. And then we ended up having 2 healthy kids, but that also seemed like a very Plutonian experience, with all the birth and death and almost dying. And so that's my Pluto MC experience, and I hope to be talking more about astrocartography, as well as Chinese astrology, numerology. I'll be branching the gamut of different subjects. I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you tune back in and subscribe. Thank you. Bye.